Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever felt like building sentences in English is just kind of confusing or maybe even backwards? Well, if you have, you are definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to dive into a really simple but powerful new way to think about English. We call it the building block method. So let's get right into it. Okay, so look at this. A lot of languages in the world are what you might call relationship first. You sort of introduce the main players, the subject and the object, and then, right at the very end, you drop the verb that connects them all. But English? Nope. English is sequential. It goes in a straight line. Subject, then the action, and then all the other details follow. And you know what? This one little difference is where so much of the frustration comes from for learners. You know that feeling, right? When you take a perfect sentence from your own language and you translate it word for word into English, and it just sounds wrong, clunky, unnatural? It's a super frustrating experience, but here's the thing, it's not your fault. It's because you're trying to squeeze a relationship-first idea into a system that's built to be sequential. So, here's the plan. We're going to stop translating. It's time for a completely new approach, and we're calling it the building block principle. The idea is so simple. Stop thinking like a translator and start thinking like a builder. I want you to literally imagine you're playing with building blocks, like Legos. You don't build a whole car in one go, right? No, you start with one piece and then you click the next piece right onto it, and then the next, and so on. English sentences work the exact same way. You start with one core idea, and you just keep adding the next logical block of information. This is how you really start to think in English, not just swap words. So what's the secret? What's the one simple rule for stacking these blocks? It's this. Each new piece of information you add is just there to explain the block that came directly before it. That's it. It's like a domino effect. The sentence almost builds itself, just by answering the natural questions that pop up as you go along. Okay, this slide breaks it down perfectly. Let's build this sentence together, block by block. Block 1, I visited. The first question your brain asks is, visited where? So we add the next block, the pastry shop. Awesome. Now, when did you visit the pastry shop? Let's add the next block, yesterday. And finally, the last question, why did you go? And the final block clicks into place, to purchase a treat. See? No complicated rules to memorize, just a simple, logical sequence of explanations. Now, this whole building block idea becomes a real superpower when we start applying it to nouns. I mean, nouns are the stars of our sentences, right? They can show up anywhere. And this method gives you an incredibly simple way to add all this rich detail about them, which is going to make your English sound so much more natural and fluent. We call these special blocks noun explainers. But hey, don't get hung up on the term. All it really means is a chunk of information that you stick right after a noun to tell us more about it. Seriously, it's not about memorizing grammar terms. It's just about the simple act of adding more info. So, let's look at a couple of real-world examples. First up, how can we use one of these building blocks to describe what a noun plans to do? Or, what its purpose is? Let's check it out. Okay, here's our starting piece. I recall the commitment. This sentence feels a little incomplete, doesn't it? It just leaves you hanging with the big question. What commitment are we even talking about here? It desperately needs another block to make sense. And there it is. This slide shows the fix. We just add the explainer block to get a dessert right after the noun commitment. And it immediately answers our question. We're not trying to modify the noun from way over there, we're explaining it right on the spot. The commitment was to get a dessert. Simple as that. All right, so that was for explaining a noun's action. But this method works just as beautifully for explaining a noun's identity. Who or what something actually is. Let's start with this simple block. The individual. Again, what's the immediate question that pops into your head? It's which individual? Who are we talking about? The sentence is begging for its next block. And here is that next block. We place residing in the neighboring house right after the individual. This isn't some complex grammar rule you have to pull from a textbook. It's just the next logical piece of the puzzle. The individual, who's that? The one residing in the neighboring house, well, what about them? Is very kind. You see? It's just one block after another after another. So what we're talking about here isn't just another grammar trick. It's a fundamental shift in how you think about English. It's about going from being a passive person who just follows rules to an active builder who creates sentences. You're the one in control, and that control is the real key to fluency.
The big takeaway is all right here on this slide. The old, frustrating way was all about memorizing word order and translating ideas. The new way? It's so much more empowering. You just explain things sequentially, you add blocks whenever you need more detail, and you literally build your sentences from the ground up.
You know, if you only take one single thing away from our explainer today, please let it be this. In English, the next word is there to explain the last word. Just for a moment, forget all the complex rules and just focus on this one simple, powerful idea.
This whole new mindset really puts the power back in your hands. You're not just translating anymore, you are actually creating. So, my final question to you is this: what sentence will you build first?